You're listening to the Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast, and I'm Lou Temlett. I know you're having a good day because either you've been on the mats, considering getting on the mats, or maybe you're continuing to lose every match. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When you've been watching Jiu-Jitsu for a while, start training Jiu-Jitsu. I'd like to welcome Zoe Swift to my podcast. Hi, Zoe.
Hiya.
How are you doing?
Really good, thank you. Yeah.
Good. It's great to have you here.
Yes, thank
you
you.
need to just tell us about this losing every match.
Yeah, I've competed 3 times now, 3 different competitions with awesome opponents. Unfortunately, I've lost a total of 8 matches, all by submission. But you know, we're still pushing forward and gonna keep going and hopefully one day end that losing streak. But yeah, it's been a bit of a ride so far.
Zoe, just to clarify, everyone, Zoe is a white belt. She is only 21 and she is doing absolutely incredible and able to speak quite openly and honestly about losing matches. I think normalising some of the narrative around loss and making it an everyday occurrence, because it does happen, feels quite open and honest, Zoe.
Yes.
How have you felt when losing the matches so far?
Every single one has been completely different, if I'm going to be honest. Like the first loss, I was so proud of myself for just getting out there because I really didn't see myself competing at all. So as much as it was rubbish that I lost, like I came out with my head held high, and then just was like, now I just want to go again. And then again, it's always like it doesn't feel great losing, but you take the good from it. You know, it's all experience, it's all learning. So every time I've lost, I've never dwelled over it for too long. I've kind of just pushed through and just thought, well, I need to obviously improve this and that, and just, you know, it just kind of pushes me to want to go again.
Okay, so you sound very, very composed, which I love. But where does this mindset come from?
Honestly, I think it's just I've never done anything like this before. I didn't even know what jiu-jitsu was like 2-3 years ago. So to go from not even knowing the sport to competing is crazy. So I think just competing in general, I'm just like proud of myself for doing it. So I can't be hurt by all the losses. So everything's a win.
I love it. I love it. And I think, you know, life throws so many things at us, and we can see one thing as negative and another thing as positive, but actually everything just is. Whatever kind of mindset or state, it's just a thing, and not, you know, kind of breaking down the success of winning a gold, which we'd all love to do. But the success of losing as well, if you kind of get where I'm coming from.
Yes,
with that.
yeah.
So 3 different matches, or 3 different events, and 8 matches in total. Why did you think that competing was a good thing at white belt, Zoe?
I think because I think it's such an important thing to just kind of test yourself, see where you're at, see how much you've progressed from like when you first started to stepping on that competition, and you know, shaking your opponent's hand. Like I think it really just it pushes you and it shows you how far you've come. And I think doing it at white belt just, you know, it shakes those nerves off early on. So as you progress through the different bouts, competing becomes easier and easier. As much as, you know, you can never shake the nerves off completely, you learn how to you know, cope with them, and like each competition, I feel those nerves creeping away a little bit more, just kind of keeping them under control a little bit better.
Good.
I think it's important to do it white belt, because, you know, it just kind of gives you a bit of a like a fast pass when you get to the higher belts and compete at a high level. So
I think you come with a great deal of wisdom that any of us over the age of 21, or maybe just over the age of 21, might be taking some really kind of sage advice from you, that it kind of works out that nervous energy, maybe not all of it, but the the act of booking a competition, making sure that you're in a bracket that has
Yeah.
other competitors, and stepping on those mats. I know completely how nervous I've been. Someone mentioned to me a while ago about people wiping their feet on the mats, and I saw it recently over this last weekend that has been absolutely jam packed with competitions. And I'm going, thank goodness it's not just me with sweaty feet. The kind of palms of my hands and my feet, you just want to,
Yeah.
kind of dry down everything before you kind of get on the mats. But how do you feel physically in stepping on the mats for competition?
Honestly, I think it's so strange. Like the lead up, the build up to a competition, I've like every time I even think about it, like I almost get like a sinking feeling in my belly. Like I'm like, oh gosh, like the nerves really creep in. And then the day before and the day of, they completely go up until they call your name and
Yeah,
you step onto the mat, and then it all feels so surreal. And then
yeah,
by the time that you can even think about it, it's already done. So it's such a roller coaster of emotions, like the whole build up and then everything.
yeah,
But yeah, it is one of those things that it's by the time you can process what's happened, it's over, and you just
yeah.
look back and you think, what was I nervous for?
Okay, so any white belts out there listening, or blue belts, or maybe any other belts, why really should we compete if we're going to have a roller coaster of emotions? What's in it for us?
I mean, you're pushing yourself. You're telling yourself that you can do something, even if your brain's telling you not to. And I think it's good for everyday life as well, just to do the thing that you don't like. Even if you don't want to do it, like doing it proves to you that you're stronger than and you can do more than what your brain tells you, and you can fight through all these feelings and still push yourself and prove to yourself that you are capable of something. I think it's important to it builds your confidence up as well, like
Yeah,
being able to shake the nerves off and just battle through these emotions and still compete, and you still turn up and you still do it. Like that's a win in itself. And I think it's just like I think it's definitely a confidence thing as well.
yeah.
Yeah, just push yourself, and it's worth it. I think the roller coaster is completely worth it, just
Okay,
to
good.
tell you how you've done it.
I like roller coasters, and a little known fact: I will always sit on the front row of a roller coaster because I want the adrenaline. I want the
Yes.
I want the thrill. I don't want to be sat at the back, covered in everyone else's vomit. I'm at the front. Anyway, so I'm so proud of you and really heartwarmed that you've shared all of that wise insight. But I still want to know where it comes from. Before we started recording, you mentioned that you're doing an HR apprenticeship at
Yes.
a well-known theme park. We won't mention them, but uh, where did the kind of initiative for taking an apprenticeship in HR come from? Because I just feel like there's some other background stuff that makes you quite as wise as you are at the age of 21.
Yeah, so I was a little bit lost of where my life was gonna go, like jumping from job to job, not quite sure. Like I went tried uni, didn't work out. So I was just a little bit like, I don't really know what's gonna happen. So I already worked at the theme park at the time, when they advertised for a HR apprentice. And it just screamed at me because, it was finally a opening to a door of like a career and a life to kind of go down. And I think that was really like really eye opening. And then to get the job I was so shocked because I could never see myself working in an office. But honestly, it's taught me loads, and I really enjoy it.
Oh, amazing. Now, to take part in an apprenticeship, does that involve writing a letter, sending a CV, an interview? What's the process these days for apprenticeships?
Yeah, so it was like just like any other job. I had to put in an application, do an interview. I actually did two interviews because there was two of us that were kind of um, on who like could get the job, so they took us in both for a second interview, and then got the job, and so it was a really easy, really nice process. The staff was lovely, my managers were lovely, and but it's just like any other job really, so
Yeah.
it wasn't out of the blue from all the others, but it was a good process.
So it sounds like the opportunity, seeing the opportunity because you already work for that organization. It sounds like the gift of a role, and being customer focused or kind of people focused feels like probably the right fit for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was really lucky to get the HR apprenticeship. It was genuinely like a someone like passing me a present. It was great. But yeah, I think it's definitely helped. I've spoken to lots of different people. I've had to, you know, I've worked in customer service. Like that was all I did.
Yeah.
When I first got my first ever job was a retail. And then so I've always been customer focused. So talk to lots of people, and now working in HR, I get to talk to all lots of people again, and it's awesome.
I love it. Okay, I'm going to take you back a little bit. To kind of take the routes that you have, what sort of studies, GCSEs or other studies, that led you to where you are with such a healthy, positive mindset, Zoe?
So I did okay. So my GCSEs were a little bit all over the place because it was COVID. So I never sat a GCSE, but I did pass all of them apart from one science. But then so in college I did criminology, English language, and graphic design, which were awesome. I love criminology so much, and that was actually kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to go into like the criminal side of things. I would always, been interested in like crime investigation and stuff like that. So I always thought that was going to kind of be my way I was going to go in life. But I think it taught me a lot, and I've been English and everything has been definitely helpful for just the creative side, and same with graphic communication.
Yeah.
I'm quite a crafty person, I like good arts and crafts and stuff like that. So it was
Nice.
all quite fitting subjects for
Good.
me.
I don't mean for this to be an education podcast, but I'm always really intrigued with the routes that people take and their mindset, and whether that's anything to do with how they apply themselves to train jiu-jitsu. But it sounds like some of the kind of the fact-finding, creative, logical things have factored really well into your life, part of your life, training Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Um,
Yes.
so you train down at Parity with Joe and John.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what your training looks like on a weekly basis now.
Yeah, so I train. I try to train about 4 or 5 times a week. I do most of all of the main classes and stuff. I've been starting to incorporate a bit of strength and conditioning into training now, especially now I want to compete, just to do that little bit extra to keep cardio up and stuff. But I try train most days. It's a good escape from life for a few hours, just to wind down, have a few scraps.
Yeah,
It's really really good on a lot, especially like mentally.
yeah.
So I love it. I try and train as much as I can.
Good. That sounds very positive and very well balanced with the work, and a leaf we should probably all observe and echo in our own lives to get some of that balance. But the reason why you started was because of your partner. So talk
Yes.
to us about this journey of starting Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, Zoe.
Yeah, so my partner, he's a purple belt. So when I met him, he was a blue belt, and I believe the first time I watched him train was when he got promoted to purple.
Oh
So
wow.
that was really really cool. And then I was the driver at the time, so I would drive him to training. I'd sit there and watch, and it just got to the point where he was like, "You're here, just give it a go." So I put a gi on. I went to a class, and I just started off light. I didn't train all the time.
Yeah.
It might have been once a week, once a fortnight, just now and then. And then, yeah, once I started to think about, pushing myself to competitions and stuff, that's when it really clicked, and I started
Yeah.
training a lot more consistently. So yeah, it's his fault.
Okay, well, thank you. Is he an inspiration for your competition kind of potential?
Yes, definitely. He is, yeah, inspiration in himself. I don't think he'd mind me saying this because he's recently actually spoken about it himself on his channel. But he's basically got a really severe asthma, and so he's been battling that for his whole life, in and out of hospital a lot. So for him to do such an intense sport, he also does MMA, like boxing, kickboxing, does a bit of everything really. And just watching him compete and watching him fight, really just like wants me to do that a little bit more because
Yeah.
if it yeah he's such an inspiration, and I love watching his fights and stuff. And yeah, I think we both kind of rub off on each other now, where one person competes, it kind of makes the other person want to. So yeah, he's definitely one of the biggest inspirations, for
Good.
my jiu-jitsu journey.
That all sounds absolutely fantastic, apart from the double competition entry fees.
Yes.
But I know where you're coming from, because for me, it's me and my kids, so it's a triple cost when we want to compete, but it's always worth it in the
Definitely.
end. How so talk us through what you felt when your partner was promoted to purple belt. You're coming into a gym, you're not really sure what's going on or what anyone does, and there's a really nice looking purple belt being put around your partner's waist, and maybe you know why, or maybe you don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, it was completely new to me. I was kind of watching everyone roll and drill, and I was a little bit confused. It was all a little bit odd looking when you're not quite sure what the sport is. So at first, I was kind of just having a look. It was very interesting to watch, and then watching him get promoted and just seeing like how like light up he got from it. It was
Yeah.
really cool to see that it was definitely something to be proud of. And there's a lot of people that come to support him, and watch him get promoted, and it was a really really nice day. And it was great getting to be able to whip him as well because
Oh,
with the promoting, he got the belt, so everyone was whipping him with the belts. And yeah, so it was really cool to see. It was
even
definitely,
e-
yeah,
e-
definitely.
even more obscure, and not really
Yes.
knowing what the heck is going on.
No, no, I was definitely not expecting the whipping, but it was awesome. It's just the
Good.
environment, and there was, yeah, everyone kind of just gathering together. Yeah, it was really cool, really eye opening.
Good. This episode is sponsored by Parity Martial Arts. Parity Martial Arts offer a diverse range of martial arts and fitness classes in an inclusive, family-friendly environment suitable for all ages and abilities. Dedicated coaches are committed to helping both adults and children thrive by building confidence, learning new skills, and adopting healthy habits. This top-class academy is located just minutes from Southampton city centre and open 7 days a week. When you want to find out more and start your free 7-day trial, head over to paritymartialarts.com and go and follow at Parity Martial Arts over on Instagram. This is the Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. Keep checking out the clips that drop as soon as I've recorded an episode, usually way before the official episode gets released, over on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Today, I'm having a conversation with Zoe Swift. So your partner is a purple belt. Did he talk to you about jiu-jitsu, kind of off the mats and when you were together before you started training?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was coaching as well at the time. So yeah, I kind of got familiar with it quite quickly. He would watch videos all the time, and talk to like his parents about it, because they know about the sport, and they train a little bit as well themselves. So yeah, so I was always kind of it was always around me when I first met him. And then he was going for competitions that I'd go to. So yeah, I was introduced to the sport way before I even like just considered training.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. And so, how does it feel now that you understand a bit more and you can have a kind of a conversation with the family, so to speak,
Yeah.
a bit more openly than just sitting there listening?
Yeah, it is so much better. I get to finally talk about it as well. And we won't be training, but we'll be watching a film, and all of a sudden he'll be like, "Oh, I've got to try this technique," and your next minute we're like practicing techniques in the living room or something. So yeah, it's all we talk about pretty much now.
Good.
It's awesome. I wouldn't change it.
Okay, I like the idea of this. Now, do you recall any movies or series that you've watched where a particular move has been picked up and then there's been, a specific kind of, arm bar or a flying triangle or something else happening
Yeah,
from
I
your
mean,
memory?
we've been watching all the like Marvel films recently, and I
Yeah,
mean people are throwing each other around everywhere, and you can see the like the similarities, and it is quite cool to pick up on now. And I'll might hint it, and even with like other sports as well. Like
yeah,
obviously, my partner does MMA, so he'll see. Um, Someone like punching a bag in a film, and we'll start talking about that. And yeah, it's honestly topic of conversation all the time now. And
Okay,
everything we do,
so
everything we watch, it's all just jujitsu.
no lack of small talk. It is just jujitsu talk. Uh, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. Um, so you're in your 20s, Zoe. I'm really interested in how we can encourage more women of your age group to think about start training jiu-jitsu. Um, do you have any kind of pointers or advice or anything that any clubs could be doing to attract more women like yourself to train Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a women's team, and everyone's so lovely there. I think definitely if you start getting women that start training to have a designated women's team so that they can be in there, with just women around them, they don't feel
Yeah,
pressured by anyone else, and they can, roll as hard as light. They can just drill, and open mats as well. I definitely think are really, really helpful because you get to meet so many other people and you get to hear their stories
yeah,
because we're all in the same boat. Everyone started somewhere. And so everyone's going through it, whether they're further along in the journey or right at the very start, you'll have someone that you can relate to. So I
yeah.
think, yeah, gyms just having lots of open mats, women's classes. I think those are definitely something that everyone should do.
Good. One of the things, actually, I was talking with someone else on a previous episode, and we were discussing the fact that most people don't even know what the word jujitsu means or what it is or what it does. Do you think there's anything that we can be doing to educate the wider population with what Brazilian jiu-jitsu is?
Yeah, I mean, I've got friends that still don't know. When I say I'm going, I just say I'm training because they'll start saying it's taekwondo or something. So I definitely think there could be so much more spread about it. Just I always find like TikToks and stuff like that. Just people posting about their jujitsu journey, whether it's just a photo, put it
Yeah,
on their story, kind of just get the word out there because it's definitely
yeah,
growing, and the sport is definitely becoming a lot more popular. But I think just share your journey, put it on your story. Don't
yeah,
be no one's gonna judge you or care. So if you've got people that would be interested, just try and get them involved and just spread the word because I think I would love to get some of my friends to train, but I think the moment you say like arm bars and rear
yeah,
naked chokes, and they're a bit like, oh, but
yeah,
I definitely think just spread the word, share your journey, let people
yeah.
know that you do jujitsu because it's something to be proud of. It's something it's awesome to do such a incredible sport, and I think just spread your journey, let people know what jujitsu is.
Okay. So, any anyone in their 20s or, over the age of 21, as I've mentioned before, document your story, share stories. Like Zoe saying, it really is only there for kind of 24 hours if you're sharing it in the old
Yes.
school Instagram. But, TikTok is about documenting that journey, because whilst you reflecting on your losses, there will become a day where you are winning every match, Zoe. I have no doubt that that will happen.
Fingers
And
crossed.
actually, and how incredible will it be to see, that whole string of losses and then suddenly a shift to something different. And even if it goes, to losses again, there's still a documented journey of that life is not a linear path. It's very much kind of,
Yeah.
one thing or another thing. And, I don't even want to say ups and downs, because it's not. It's just a thing or a thing,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where it is. But you mentioned women's open mats, and Parity have at their location held the ENYO women's open mats, and you went to watch ENYO 7. So I'm really interested to hear your take on how that felt for you as a spectator, as a very new white belt.
Yeah, I mean, it was my first ever jiu-jitsu show, and I'd only competed once at that time. I've only ever been to 3 competitions in total, so I was really excited because I'd been watching all the old Enyos on YouTube. So it just looked awesome. Like, as far as just the lighting and everything, I was like, oh, I can't wait. And going there, it met expectations. It was incredible, just like watching women come together and show off their talent. It was so cool to see, and I was with a lot of the women from my gym as well, and we were there cheering on people that were competing that we train with, and it was just, yeah, it was so lovely just seeing everyone so happy and cheering everyone on, and no one there looked unimpressed. It was incredible, and
Yeah.
I'm going to the next one. I'm really excited.
I will be at the next one. I was also at the previous one, and the kind of young women brought their fire, brought their game, and just owned the whole show wholeheartedly, which was just incredible, and just like you say, kind of showing off their skills and abilities. And whilst there may well have been fear and anxiety and nervousness, it looked a very beautiful, polished kind of presentation of women's jiu-jitsu in the UK, which is always fantastic to see.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it was so cool. I love watching the juveniles and stuff. They really do give it their all, and they are scary to watch. They are, yeah. It was so cool.
Do you remember any of the matches specifically that, whether it's, teammates or any other matches that felt quite special to watch?
Yeah, Alexis, obviously, she competed on there. She trains with me, and that was awesome to watch. And then the finals as well, the women, the Grand Prix, the final, that was awesome. A
Yeah.
little bit at the end when everyone got the photo, that was probably my favorite part. I actually got a little photo of everyone gathered together because it just showed
Oh,
the community in a whole,
yeah.
and it was really heartwarming to see. So that was
Yeah.
definitely the highlight of the night, just seeing everyone come together and
Good.
congratulate each other for wins or losses. At the end of the day, they stepped up there and they gave it their all and they put on a show, and it was
Yeah.
incredible. So yeah,
It
awesome.
absolutely was incredible. So we are looking forward to ENYO 8 on Saturday, the 4th of April. This episode is out maybe a week or two before. If you haven't got your tickets, please go and get them. If not, watch pay-per-view, because these women and girls are just incredible. So, Zoe, you're a white belt and you've got a few competitions on your belt so far. Um, do you see yourself on the ENYO mats in the future?
It would be awesome if I could, get to there. I think definitely be the highlight of my entire year to step on the ENYO mats. Like, yeah, the moment I can, and if I'm, given that opportunity, definitely gonna take it with, my head held high, because yeah, that would be honestly such an incredible opportunity to be given. So yeah, if I ever do, it would be
Yeah.
awesome, and I'm definitely not going to turn it down. So yeah, definitely something to work towards.
I think you have some incredible role models down at your gym, so there is no reason why you shouldn't, set your own footsteps for your journey.
Yeah, definitely. The women I train with are incredible. So yeah, they're all kind of pushing each other. So yeah,
Good.
awesome.
Let's just reflect on Coastal Combat, because you appeared at Dorchester Prison not so long ago. How was that whole experience for you?
Yeah, it was awesome. I went to the first Coastal Combat on Weymouth Beach. My partner competed, fought on there in MMA, and I was like, when I saw that they did grappling, and they took white belts, I was on it straight away. I got matched up, and yeah, it was just training for a few months and just putting my all into it. And then on the day, it was all nerves, but all good nerves. The venue was awesome. Something that I, probably never do anything like that again.
Yeah,
That in itself was just so cool to be a part of. And yeah, it was really cool. And then stepping out there and just hearing the crowd just cheering and everything, like it put it all kind of to reality. But it
yeah,
was almost motivating,
yeah,
hearing people cheer, even if it was for my opponent, because
yeah.
it was her hometown, so everyone there was for
Nice.
her. And it was, yeah, it kind of lifted me up and made me just want to go out there even more. So
Oh,
despite losing, it was awesome. And even when she got her hand raised, like, I was smiling from ear to ear. It was just incredible. It was so
yeah.
fun. I'll definitely do it again.
Very proud moment for you, Zoe.
Yes.
Let's come on to coaching. Being coached at competitions. How are you finding it? And what is the benefit to being coached or cornered at a competition like Coastal Combat or any of the others?
I think, yeah, I mean, for my first one, I genuinely couldn't hear my corner. I had a really big adrenaline dump. So I was kind of just in survival mode, just trying to push through. But I've kind of learned since then that listening really does help. Just kind of trying to listen out to what your corner's saying, because they're there to give you the things that you can't see, and to
Yeah,
let you know what you might be missing, whether there's like an opening on this on the right side, or
yeah,
they've got their arm in the wrong place. And those things are really important, because yeah,
mm,
they're there to see the things you can't. And also to just, they're motivating you to, when I was against the cage in Coastal Combat, I think if it was just me, I would have probably given up. But them just, saying like, just keep going, and push through and try and escape
yeah,
and stuff, like that alone just gives you that little bit more energy, because you're doing it for someone. And
yeah,
you feel like you've got to prove it to yourself, and obviously you want to put your best in for them too, because they've taken the time to come and corner you and
yeah,
coach you and stuff. So
yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. Now, you mentioned the adrenaline dump in one of your first matches. What was going on for you? Because I've been there, and I'm just really interested to hear your experience.
Yeah, it was my first ever competition. And going there, I was so excited. It was the hardest I'd ever trained, because it was my first competition, so I tried to put everything into it. I mean, I was definitely definitely improved since then, because there was lots of things I could have done better, looking back. But yeah, I was so confident going in, even when I was stood like by the mat, still warming up a little bit, jumping around, felt really, really good. The moment I hit the mat and, shook my opponent's hand,
Yeah,
all my energy just got zapped out of me. And the moment I was pulled to the floor, yeah, everything switched off. I couldn't think of what to do next. It was all kind of a blur now. I have to look back at the videos and you can see where I kind of gave up. It was definitely something I'd never forget. I think it was good though to feel it. I think
Yes.
feeling how tired you can be, and knowing that you still, even though it showed that I wasn't putting my all in, I didn't give up right up until I tapped. I tried as best I could, with my brain being so foggy, but it was definitely something I think people need. As much as you don't want it, I think it helps to just know how to come out of that, and how to still go back onto the mats and try again. Because that was my first division, and then I was so ready to go home, but I had the absolute division still, and I was determined to just get it done. So even despite having an adrenaline dump, I went back on the mat about an hour later. Same thing. Same thing happened again, but again, it's all learning, it's all experience.
Fantastic. You are such an inspiration, Zoe. I cannot wait for you to come back and talk to me again. I feel like there'll be a lot more to talk about whilst there's a blue belt in between. I want you to come back when you're a purple belt, Zoe, because
Be awesome.
Yeah, that would be incredible. I feel like that might be a pivotal moment. I'm calling it now.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the next couple of years or more.
Gosh, yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe more. These things take a while, don't they?
They do.
Okay, but that's fine. We'll still be here. Zoe, it's been an absolute pleasure listening to how inspirational you are, and how kind of driven and determined, regardless of anything else, adrenaline dump or whatever else, just coming back again and again for more competitions. How can people follow your journey and see where you're competing next, Zoe?
So I have my BJJ account on Instagram, which I believe zoe.bjj.04. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's exactly right.
Perfect. But yeah, so I've got my my Instagram. I've also got a TikTok, which I've started kind of designating more towards jujitsu, which I think is linked in my Instagram. I will double check that because I can't
I
remember
will
the name
put
off the
all
top
the
of my
links in the
head.
show notes, and obviously this will all be on, clips will be on TikTok as well. So I will be tagging you and collaborating.
Awesome. Perfect. But yeah, those are the two you guys can follow me on.
Fantastic. Zoe, I wish you all the success, and looking forward to seeing you on in the audience for ENYO 8.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. It's been awesome.
You are very welcome. If you've got this far, thank you so much for listening. Let me know who you'd like to see on the show next. And as always, you can check out the clips on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for telling your friends about this show. And as soon as this episode ends, I'd really appreciate you subscribing on whichever platform you are listening on. As always, I am trying to hit 1,000 subs on YouTube in 2026. Please go and help me out and subscribe over there. Thank you very much for listening. Catch you on the next episode of the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast.